Now with the Quest 2, the monitor, the keyboard and the mouse out of the way, we finally get to the PC itself, and this obviously was the biggest investment of them all and the main thing that started this Black Friday. I've spent, I think, 2 to 3 weeks of research and more research and more research before Black Friday came, so I am prepared with the knowledge of what I want from my PC, a good comparison between lower and higher tier products, to know when I'm looking at an offer if the price is even worth it. And I must admit, when I started looking for offers, my concept of what I'm aiming for to buy was way lower than what I ended up buying, because I was aware of what's the best in the industry at the moment, but I just felt like the pricing is not worth it. So my configuration was much lower planned, but the more I was looking at things, the more I was playing with the computer configuration on websites and checking out prices and checking out the offer, the more it itched and it itched, and I really had to scratch that itch. And yes, I just said screw it all, and I bought the best gaming computer right now. Like literally everything you want in a computer is there. Now a lot of people, when they saw the price I paid, when they saw the elements I've put in that PC, were like, you're crazy, like for what do you need that? You don't need all that. But in my case it actually makes sense, and I will explain it. The PC configuration that I bought is not just for gaming, and it's not just for recording games and putting it on YouTube, but it's also as a working space. When it comes to Adobe After Effects, the program that I'm using for editing my videos, it's a pretty demanding program, like really demanding. It's not designed for cutting and exporting videos, it's designed for way more complex effects. And I do love to play with those effects. The reason why I didn't go crazy with them till now on the YouTube channel is because it just takes too much out of the PC. Like if you don't have a powerful PC, every little thing you do extra, especially if you're gonna go into 3D, it's just gonna take a million years exporting videos. Like whenever I exported a new video for YouTube and it says 8 hours remaining, that's 8 hours of me not being able to do nothing. And if at the end of those 8 hours I realize I forgot to change something, or I forgot to add something, I need to make that change and export it again. I'm losing entire days where I could be working to make better content, to make more content, or simply just have more free time simply because of my PC. So investing in a much more powerful PC is gonna save me time, and at least in my case, the better the PC, the more time I'm saving, and let's face it, time means money. Besides that, I also really want to get more in depth into Unreal Engine 5.1, especially into VR game development. I'm still a noob, I'm still gonna have to learn a million things. I'm not saying I'm a programmer, but I do want to learn and I am ready to do it. But again, it's the same story as with Adobe After Effects. It's a pretty demanding program. You are working with 3D things, so having a very powerful PC for that means you can just save on the time waiting for things to process and just focus on developing your skills in Unreal Engine. And last but not least, I just want to do some high quality gaming for you guys. When I start playing a new game, I don't want to feel restricted about the game requirements or the graphics in it. On the contrary, I want to give you guys a high graphics experience, and with the PC configuration I have now, well, considering it's the best you can get on the market, yeah, I can afford playing any game I want with maxed out graphics. And besides that, I also need to record everything, which again takes load on your computer and so on. And More to that, I also want to do PC VR gaming, which is even more exhausting for the PC. So for all these reasons combined, I don't regret going full out crazy on the build. And as for the build itself, let's go a bit through the core items of it. I'm not gonna go overly detailed on it because I'm gonna do that when the PC arrives, but just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. For the processor, I went for an Intel i9 13th generation 900K, which is the last processor that Intel put out. I think it came out on the 24th of October, so like a month and a half, 2 months ago it came out, and now I have it. It's an amazingly stupid processor, and it's perfect for everything I want to do with it, from Adobe After Effects to Unreal Engine 5. It's definitely gonna help me out a lot with those things. Those programs do have a lot of processes working in the same time, so having multi-core high speed is gonna help you reduce the strain on the processor and therefore get the job done much faster. Obviously with a processor like this, you're gonna emit a lot of heat, so I do have a Corsair H115i Elite liquid cooler for it. So that's gonna keep my processor in check, especially if I'm planning to overclock it, which I most probably will. But yeah, the processor is currently at least the best you can get in pretty much everything. Last processor for AMD is definitely up there together with this 13th generation i9 from Intel, but I just said again, screw it, I just want the best, I don't care. Plus the pricing was actually pretty good for what it can do, and I would definitely advise you not to go for the i9 as I did, but more importantly, even if you get an i7 or an i5 13th generation Intel processor, it's definitely worth the money for what it can do. When it comes to the graphic cards, and probably this is the biggest thing here, because graphic cards are the most expensive elements in your PC, and yes, I did lose my mind and I just went for the RTX 4090. For anybody that doesn't know what the RTX 4090 is, it's the latest NVIDIA graphic cards out there, and it's just a monster. Like, it's destroying everything else on the market, and also your credit card, because it costs about 2,000 euros, at least in Europe, because the pricing are different from USA to Europe. Is it worth it? Yes. Yes. Again, I just wanted to say screw it all, and once in a lifetime just go for everything I wish for, and one of them was just have the best of everything in one PC. Now the 4090 demolishes the competition, but it also comes at the price. When it comes to efficiency, I would say if you still gonna go for NVIDIA, I would definitely advise you to go for a 3090 Ti. It's up there with the best in the market. Doesn't touch the 4090, not in a bit, but price wise it's much more worth it. And if you are just a gamer, even if you want to do extra stuff like I said, like video editing or playing Unreal Engine, the 3090 is more than enough for everything. Like, you can definitely play games on the highest graphics. The 4090 is just one of those graphic cards where you just don't care anymore. Like, you don't even think about graphics when you go into a game. It's because you can play whatever graphics you want and still have the highest FPS in the game. Like, it's stupid. I just there's nothing to describe that graphic card. So the graphic card is there for the same reason as I stated for the processor. I just want to have not just gaming wise the best, but also it's gonna help me a lot with 3D rendering in Adobe After Effects, and especially also in Unreal Engine 5. is gonna help me a lot to have that graphic card there. Now, even though the graphic card itself has its own 3 coolers keeping the GPU intact, I also have 6 extra coolers added to the case itself because it's gonna need it. I don't know if I'm gonna be overclocking the GPU, but let's see what happens. It is a very powerful graphic card, but until I put it to practice, until I play some games, until I use it in my programs, I'm not gonna know exactly is it enough or do I need that little bit more. But that, when the PC arrives, I'm gonna be doing a lot of testing, and yeah, I'm gonna definitely put it to the challenges. Besides that, everything else in the PC is just there to complement these 2 main elements, which is the CPU and the GPU. So for example, for the RAM, I went for 32 gigabytes, did around 5 Corsair 5600 megahertz. The reason why I didn't go for 64 or bigger is firstly because I don't think I need it. 32 gigabytes, did around 5 with 5600 megahertz is more than enough. So I invested in higher speed reading and writing on the RAM itself, and better quality, going from did around 4 to 5. And besides that, I also have the 24 extra gigabytes from the graphic card itself. So overall, I think this is gonna be more than enough for everything I want to do with my PC. And if anything, I can always add more to the PC. I have a 216 Corsair RAM, so I still have 2 slots left, and the RAM, as much as I'm concerned, are the easiest and cheaper things to invest in putting afterwards in your PC combination. That's why 32 at the moment, together with the 24 from the graphic card, is more than enough. For the motherboard, we have an ASUS ROG Strix 490. Again, I needed something to complement the main elements, so you do need a proper motherboard to handle the processor and to handle the graphic card itself. For the SSD, I have a 1 terabyte SSD with 7300 megabytes reading speed and 6300 megabytes writing speed. Again, it's important to have the speed in the RAM and your hard disk or your SSD. Well, if you're gonna have a hard disk, you're not gonna have the speed. So in your SSD and your RAM to complement your CPU and your graphic cards, if you're gonna invest in those 2, because when the graphic card is gonna need those RAM, or the CPU is gonna need those RAM, because it doesn't matter how fast your CPU or your graphic card is, if the RAM that they're using to store and read and process the information is slower than it, so it has to wait for the RAM speed to be able to give you the final result. And this is why it was important for me to focus on the speed of the RAM and the SSD to not slow down my main components. Now this entire build is about 750 watts build, so I did go for Be Quiet 1000 watt Platinum series power source, because yeah, let's not even talk about overclocking things, because that's gonna going into even bigger watts, but I really needed at least 1000 watts for this build because it's just so massive. Now I left a list with all the elements part of my PC. Now you have the main components of what I bought myself for this Black Friday. Again, the challenge is, leave in the comment section what you think the pricing is for everything together, and in the next video where I'm gonna be finally reviewing my PC, I will give you the answer, and we're gonna try to match it with what you guys wrote in the comment section. But that's it from me, guys. Again, I'm really excited about what's gonna be coming towards the near future with the YouTube channel. I hope you guys are also. Thanks again for checking in. If you enjoy it, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.